to get in the huddle with your host, Charles Brodge Ritchie, here on the Mass Steel Podcast.
This thing belongs to Mr. Roney, belongs here, and let's see if we can bring this damn thing back here next year, along with the Super Bowl. Here we go.
The game is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it the hard way.
With the 10th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush,
And welcome everybody to this edition here of the Mass Steel Podcast here. Me, Charles Project Ritchie, as I am coming to you live here from New Stanton right now. Coming from right now at a motel location right now at Days Inn by Wyndham here in New Stanton, Pennsylvania. Came here this weekend to cover Steelers training camp. As unfortunately, as everyone was well aware of, on Sunday morning, it was reported that on late Saturday evening, that former wide receivers coach who served with the Steelers for 1 year and also spent a majority of his football career in college, Drake, who actually, remember, recently came in to replace the retiring Richard Mann. His coaching career spanned 36 years, with stops at his alma mater, Western Kentucky, for 9 seasons, I should say. Then he also spent 5 seasons at Georgia, and 1 year where he coached Hines Ward. And, of course, at Baylor for a season, and then Texas for 6 years. Then, of course, with Lovie Smith and the Chicago Bears for about a 9-year run until Mark Trestman came in. They parted ways from there. And then the Arizona Cardinals under Bruce Arians at a couple of seasons right there. And now as we get ready to move forward at this point in time, like I said, just very heartbroken and devastated to learn about the news of having the Steelers coach as well as family. Just goes to show you how family still manages to come first no matter what the circumstances. I remember I was waking up and hopping in my car. I was getting ready to go to training camp that day when it happened, when it was announced, I should say. And I remember I was listening to 970 AM Pittsburgh inside the locker room with Tunch and Wolf. And it was one of their special edition podcasts they were doing for training camp. And the news got spread around that, as you know, Daryl Drake, who at the moment passed away. And there we are. And you look at it and you see I was trying to figure out what was going on, why it was canceled. Then a few moments later, I heard, and I checked the Steelers app. It was confirmed that it was canceled. And like I said, all I knew is next week I heard the name Daryl Drake. His name come out that he passed away. And there you had it. And it was just everything all added up. And I was just thinking what was causing the cancellation here of the practice. And no doubt about it, piecing together, it was the wide receiver coach, Daryl Drake, who suddenly passed away at the age of 62 years old. And you look at it, too. I mean, the Steelers, who just came off a thrilling victory somewhat in a way, who managed to hang on against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Week 1 preseason opener. And like I said, he came in to replace Richard Mann. And I heard like a speculation from a couple of close people to me. One person who was far out to say is, does this leave open the possibility for a guy like Hines Ward to consider possibly having wide receivers coach with the Steelers? even though a lot of times things did not work out in the past. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it just never came to fruition. But I don't know if that's going to still happen at this point in time. Remember, he's a coaching intern with the Jets. But I will say this. I think for Hines Ward, if he does come back like to the Steelers in some sort of coaching capacity with the team, I think first and foremost, what needs to happen, in my opinion, is that you need to sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk with Ben Roethlisberger. Mainly, I think you need to sit down, like hash things out, because obviously Hines Ward is one of those critics of Ben, who definitely felt like when you saw the guys like the departure of Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell within the last year move on, and the way he's been doing stuff on his radio show still seems to be a little bit of traces of his leadership, the way he goes about calling out guys in the press. But I will say, I mean, like I said, I talked to a lot of Pittsburgh sports fans while here this weekend. I'll be in training camp tomorrow, definitely. It's not gonna be for long. I gotta return back to Chicago on Wednesday, but I have to start leaving probably like maybe an hour or two into the practice. But I will say, like I said, a lot of people are really kind of glad to be relieved that it's just going back to football basics. A lot of hardcore fans right now, especially in Pennsylvania, feel like a lot of the toxic noise, if you will, so to speak, that a lot of people have been alluding to, has finally been cleared out of the atmosphere. And like I said, I still wait to have that be seen. To be honest with you, I can't really say that for right now, but I will say this. It's just right now, this is definitely a more focused team. The energy level is there, a lot of expectations riding high. And you look at aside from like what's happening with the passing of a guy like Daryl Drake, who passed away on late Saturday evening, is that also too you gotta think of it like this: is that when you lose a guy like him, I mean, you think about his wife Sheila, who's actually surviving right now, and of course, I mean, his personal life, who have 3 daughters, and like I said, it's just a sad time. I mean, there's a song I listened to that was from Kid Rock. That's called a song called "Only God Knows Why," and definitely, I mean, you can understand why things happen the way they do. No one never really gets to truly get a sense like how long we'll be here on this earth, or what kind of legacy we want to leave. And I think right now, I'm sure the Steelers right now are going to use him as a rallying cry for some reason going forward throughout this time period. They're going to use this right now as a point where we are family, and just more importantly, just like a legacy. How do you want to be remembered, and how you want to make a legacy statement right now with the talent they got this year, the acquisitions they made throughout the offseason, the hard work they did to try and like solidify this defense, as well as trying to also like try to make sure that you got guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, the offense, your bench at confidence right now, at full focus, and more importantly, just all of one goal, hands in, hands out, and we'll see where it goes from here. But again, if you want to dial in, feel free to dial in the number. It is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. You can also follow me on Twitter at Project Richie. You can also check me out streaming live right now on my YouTube channel. No Instagram today, unfortunately. But like I said, you can also, on Instagram, you can check me out other times, Men of Steel Nation. I'm going to try and have like another Men of Steel podcast live, hopefully in the morning or sometime before noon, well before the start of practice time. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested to see some of these position battles right now. And speaking of which, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people seen the first preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to just start off by saying this. I don't think it was all pretty at all by any means when you look at that game. I mean, obviously, I think the biggest thing, in that game right there, I think definitely was the quarterbacking. But you look at some of the other stats that pop up, the noticeable ones in that game. When you really look at it, I think this is some encouraging ones. If you want to take a look at some of the smaller things too, I mean, look at it this way. When you really think about things, I mean, look at this. When you have penalties in there, Steelers only got penalized 10 times for 74 yards, while the Bucks got 14 for 112 yards, which is pretty impressive, if you ask me. Not pretty, but I mean, I think it's a little bit slightly more disciplined football. Hopefully, that's a sign we'll see throughout this year. I thought that was definitely encouraging because when you think about the Steelers lately in recent times, people start to question as far as like the lack of discipline or the mental errors they'd be making on the field. And I think that was just a good sign in that game, in that week 1 preseason opener against the Bucks. But also, too, when you really look at, I mean, besides that, you take a look at some of the other stats on here. I mean, in that game, and I got to tell you, one guy who I was really impressed with, he didn't do much rushing on the game. But again, I mean, when you start off running, one of your first important jobs they want to see you do, as they always say, in most cases for rookie running backs, when you're trying to fight your way on the depth chart, show what kind of blocking ability you got. And I got to tell you, Benjamin Snell right here, who's actually of all the running backs on this team, when you take a look at everything, he had the most scrimmage yards out of everybody. Benjamin Snell in this contest had at least, in this contest, 15 plays for 51 yards. And I think that was pretty impressive right there. I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, he didn't get any touchdowns in this game, but I tell you what, that's one thing I gotta really believe as we get closer to the start of the regular season, see how things get ready to transition. But I really thought that was encouraging to see right there. There's a lot of people have been kind of reminding, James Conner at particular critical moments in times, as much as he had a good start off last year running the ball, up until he got banged up against the Carolina Panthers, and probably has only had maybe like 2 more games down the stretch where he's really started to show why they could fill Le'Veon Bell's void. But the only problem was there was times where he missed some key, crucial passes from Ben in certain key plays. So I thought that was a good, encouraging sign there. I mean, obviously, when you look at the other side of the ball too, I mean, when you really look at it, let's stay with the offense here for a second. Yeah, Mason Rudolph right here had 141.1 quarterback rating, the highest QB rating of the game. He only passed for 91 yards on 8 attempts, and which, by the way, he completed about over 60% of his passes, which is pretty darn impressive right there. Did not get sacked at all. I mean, Joshua Dobbs right here, he did get sacked twice, but the good thing about him, he did not turn the ball over. Still passed for a pretty impressive 85 yards. I mean, in that contest, had a respectable 98.4 rating. But I got to tell you what, Mason Rudolph right now, I mean, one of the things that was reported about him is that he was being more confident, a little bit more accurate. And we'll see. I really start to wonder if this is going to be the year where we see, like how last year when Joshua Dobbs unseated Landry Jones for the number 2 QB position. I think it's definitely encouraging right now. And you look at the competition right there, and you start to wonder right now, where can these guys continue to prove it? But then you look at the other side of the ball too. I mean, no doubt about it, defensively, Devin Bush, he stole the show, just looked as good as advertised for this team. And I just hopefully he doesn't overwork himself throughout the preseason. Obviously, going to have to still prove they could earn their stripes. But 10 total tackles, led the entire game of everybody. 7 solo, 3 assisted. And that was pretty darn impressive right there. And then, you know what, too? He's almost a guy, too, right now where you look at like Ryan Shazier, too, where Shazier had that also special capability and ability where he could also play some pass coverage. Devin Bush, there was a couple of times where he did play pass coverage, and he almost made a pick in that game. And that was really, like I said, when you look at it, I feel right there that Bush, I mean, definitely it's just a matter of time. I feel like he could definitely continue to make some good strides. But like I said, it's only game 1 of the preseason. My only biggest concern I had with the Steelers defense throughout this contest, they got spurned by a lot of yards in this game. When you really look at it, I mean, they given up 390 yards and 6.4 yards per pass and allowing 65% completion percentage on them. No picks. But, I mean, for the run game, they did a better job in the run department, only allowing under 100 yards, 89 yards total for the game. I mean, yards per rush was about 4 yards. I mean, that could definitely still be a little bit better. But I think when you also look at it, too, I mean, Justin Lane did a pretty good job as well. I mean, the defensive back out of Michigan State right there, Ola Adeni still doing impressive, too. He had 5 total tackles overall throughout the game, the third largest. Then you had Tyler Matakevich. I mean, this was definitely a decent contribution. The only part that my biggest takeaway from that game was when you had a 2-score lead in there. And again, I know it's preseason, nothing to get too jumpy about, but you have a 14-point lead with about 7 minutes left to go. And I realize this is mostly your bench that's playing, but I don't want it to be a sign where I'm looking at this team throughout the year, and if you're going to need some guys to call up or if someone gets hurt, I mean, let's not forget. I mean, this is right now, it's going to be a thing where you're going to have to call someone up in the event someone is injured. Will they be able to answer the bell and step up to the plate? That's the biggest thing right here, and that does kind of bother me a little bit. Will we see more fourth quarter blown leads? Or at least like down to the wire as far as playing on the defense. Again, number is 312-209-2232. Again, the number to be reached is 312-209-2232. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Prodigy Richie. Then you can also catch me streaming live on my YouTube channel, Men of Steel Nation. And then normally you can also catch me on Instagram, Men of Steel Nation. So now let's get ready to go into fair or foul real quick here as we get ready to wrap up. I just want to apologize to everyone for this late edition of the Men of Steel podcast. I just want to give you all overall. I just been around enjoying the stay here in Pennsylvania. This is actually, when you think about things, my 4th time overall in the state of Pennsylvania alone. 2 times within the Pittsburgh area, but 3 times you could actually say, 2 of them being to a game. This was not a game, but training camp going to St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Definitely had ball, as you can see right here behind me. Take a look at some of my gear I got right here, and definitely can't wait to utilize. See right here as we look at it. But yeah, I mean, right now got my little Jerome Bettis license plate right there. Then overall, right there too. As you can see, got a little defensive sign right there. And just getting ready to rock and roll for tomorrow. Get ready to get out there. But like I said, just have a great time. Make sure to check out some spots over here. I was actually at Sharky's Cafe yesterday. Jerome Bettis bar right by Heinz Field. And then also today, Permai Brothers. That was just a good spots right here. I had a terrific time throughout the weekend. Some great weather. I mean, the only rain I think that was supposed to happen was tonight, but that was like around New Stanton. I think tomorrow's supposed to be clear weather. But anyway, let's get ready to get back up here. It's a fair or foul right now. Mason Rudolph, in your opinion right now, making an immediate impact to unseat Joshua Dobbs for the number 2 quarterback spot? I'm going to have to say fair for right now. And the only reason why I think a lot of people have been pointing to if Ben does start to slow down or if he makes real bad mistakes or he's not feeling it or whatever, and the Steelers do decide to go another direction, I would not be surprised they lean on someone like a Mason Rudolph, have the Mason Rudolph era start, probably more than likely after Ben's contract is over. But I definitely feel like he's definitely continuing to be like a little bit more the aggressor. I mean, you saw him starting off the gate last year when he first came in. I remember one of his first preseason games was against the Packers, and not a pretty sight in that game. But I think this year, definitely, you could tell he's a little bit more spot on. Definitely has a lot more comfort, a lot more confidence, and movement, I think, around like when in the pocket. And I think those are some important things to point out right there. I think Rudolph right now he's got finally a little bit of a whiff what to expect, what to call up. I think he's going to be just fine. I think the only other guy, too, when I looked at it, too, who I had some question marks going to this game was Zach Gentry. Zach Gentry, who actually took a little bit of a dip for being a rookie. But, I mean, still, Zach Gentry, who's actually in his first year, caught a nice touchdown pass. Remind me so much of when Jesse James would catch in the end zone. I mean, he was definitely a good red zone target at times, aside from Antonio Brown. When you look at, this guy who's 6'8" right here, and when you look at things, I definitely feel like he's going to be someone. You give him some time, he's gonna work his way in there. But for right now, to me, that's what you've asked McDowell. But you saw some of the work right there. And how about James Washington too? Right here, who's the second leading receiver in the game with 84 yards. Averaging 21 yards a catch and a touchdown. He caught his longest for 43 yards. And he was targeted 5 times, and he caught 4 out of 5, which is pretty darn impressive. 84% when you look at it. 80%, excuse me. That's impressive right there. And I think a lot of it, too, a lot of people kept speculating on throughout the offseason is, what kind of work ethic he's going to be into. But then again, I also have a friend of mine, too, who also told me when you look at rookies coming into this league, their first year, you could kind of expect them to be a little bit out of shape and not so much as far as, like, peak condition just yet. You are, like, coming out of the college atmosphere as far as, like, the dieting, expecting the drills. And a lot of it, too, I really feel like he is going to be as advertised. I think he's going to be the guy who's definitely going to have some good hands throughout his career. I think if he continues to keep that up, we shall see. I think definitely he's going to be a guy who could definitely continue to make some strides in the right direction for this team. James Washington, like I said, definitely he's got a little bit of a tug lashing from Ben Roethlisberger, but at the same time, many people who look at it and really appreciate a guy like Ben Roethlisberger and his quarterbacking. It's a way of trying. Unfortunately, you got to show some rookies some tough love once in a while. It may not have been popular the way he did on his radio show, making some comments, but at the same time, some people do believe that he's been around. He's won big enough games consistently and taken his team to the playoffs that he's got a right to like a mentor and discipline. Not discipline, but criticize some teammates if he feels like some are out of line or not up to par with the play calling that's being executed. And I definitely feel like he's definitely earned some of it right. All I'm just saying is just be careful how it comes out there. Last thing you want to do is just see, more drama surrounding this guy. But yeah, I think. But as far as Mason Rudolph, I think for right now, when you look at it, he's gonna be the guy eventually. I think he will take that job from right here from Josh Dobbs. I think for some reason, just a little bit of gut feeling, but enjoying the progress, hearing about him throughout the offseason, his work ethic. And, you know what, his second year being a lot more prepared. And we shall see how that comes out. All right, now let's go on to topic number 2 of fair or foul. Devin Bush will no doubt be the unquestioned starting inside linebacker once the season begins. Fair or foul? I'm going to go fair with that one as well. I know it's only the first preseason game, but I mean at the same time too, let's think about it. I mean, this guy who came storming right out of the gate, 10 tackles here. I mean, who's real good at tackling despite his size. I got to believe this is a guy that is hungry. I mean, why would the Steelers move up so many spots to grab a guy like him? And you have to think about like a lot of special intangibles he has within himself. I think he will find a way to make that happen. But yeah, I think that's one thing. When you look at it, and we'll see what happens. But for right now, like I said, let's continue to make progress on here. I mean, first and foremost, you got to prove you continue to stay healthy. And then when you actually look at it too, I think for right now, when you look at a guy like Mark Barron, who possibly could be that guy too. Remember, a guy who actually came from the Rams and who actually got signed in the preseason with the Steelers. This is after St. Patty's Day weekend. When you look at it, and like I said, he signed a 2-year, $12 million contract with the Steelers. They're pretty good with the Rams. I mean, as far as like overall, who actually had 43 total tackles. I mean, a little bit of a decline from his previous year from 73. The career highest he's ever had in the season was 91. That was back in 2016. I mean, when the Rams returned back to LA. But I gotta definitely believe like Mark Barron is a guy, someone too. Aside from Ryan Shazier, you can look for Devin Bush be picking his brain. I mean, throughout this contest, even though they will be competing with each other, I gotta believe that someone, this guy, he could mentor in a way and try and fill in some pointers at this time. But like I said, let's continue to keep an eye out right here and see how this thing continues to pan out. And last but not least, on fair or foul, I just want to finish up what I said earlier. Hines Ward, will this be a sign where he can come back home to Pittsburgh and be the wide receivers coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Daryl Drake's passing? I'm going to have to still say foul on that one. And the only reason why, I mean, for some reason, I haven't, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he doesn't respect the Steelers or he disses them. But this is another guy who seems to kind of take issue the way some of the culture has changed in the last few years as far as like going back to Steeler football. A guy who prided himself for playing his career as far as being like a smash mouth physical football team when you look at it. Hines Ward is a guy who's taken a lot of pride out there, wanting to go in there for a fight as well as a battle. But I'm just saying, when you look at how many times that's been turned down, of course, Joey Porter was able to come back as a linebackers coach. And I think this was after the 2004-2015 season, I want to say, around that time. And he helped in the pass rush. But who's to say this can't happen with a guy like Hines Ward? I'm not sure about that. And like I said, only because of criticism that has been continuing to be aimed, especially at Ben Roethlisberger. And I think they need to sit down and talk, him, Ben, and Coach Tomlin, and we'll wait and see about that. I'm sure they'll probably get someone from the outside again, as usual. Have some suggestions. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that would be necessarily a fit just yet. Maybe in due time, a few more years. But other than that, I'm not feeling it right now. I would love to see him back in the Steelers organization. But there's things that need to be an honesty right here on this time when you really look at it. So let's find out. But anyway, that's going to do it and pause to a close for this edition of the Metal Steel Podcast. I want to thank those of you for tuning in. You always catch me every Mondays and Wednesdays. And search me on my Facebook page, Metal Steel Podcast. That's at Metal Steel Nation, capital M, capital S. Of course, streaming live on Instagram, Metal Steel Nation, and my YouTube channel, Metal Steel Podcast. So I leave you. Don't be trolling, don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I gone.